We have a brand. New York has a brand. And when people see it, it means something.
Oh, really?
You know, when we go there, it's not, Kansas doesn't have a brand. When you go there, okay, you're from Kansas. No. Well, you know what? But New York has a brand. It has a brand.
Well, let's see about that.
I'm a reporter in New York City, and this is what I'm covering this Monday morning. I took this video at around 4:30 this morning outside the Roosevelt Hotel in Manhattan on 45th Street. This is actually on 46th Street, but I'm just showing on this side to show the line of migrants that are sleeping on the sidewalk. Now, these are asylum seekers.
Yep, New York has a brand, all right. What's going on there in New York City is disturbing. I'm going to share my thought and perspective because you need to hear this. And I'll share with you what I think might be happening here. It's not that I know, I'm just simply based on the videos that I'm seeing. I have a thought and a perspective, so I'm going to share it here. Listen to this news clip that tells you a little bit of what's happening here.
Mayhem and unrest in New York City after a social media star announces a free game giveaway. Thousands of young people flooding the streets at the start of Friday rush hour. The out-of-control crowd even briefly disrupting subway service. All of this after social media star Cenat, with 20 million followers, on Twitch promising fans free PlayStation 5 gaming systems, gift cards, and more at the city's Union Square Park.
$100 gift cards all here, bro. We gonna go crazy for New York, man. NYC, let's go, man.
The Twitch star even briefly streaming while mobbed by fans during the chaos. Later, an SUV believed to be carrying Cenat leaving the scene with people desperately hanging on.
No.
Dozens arrested and at least 3 officers were injured. One 17-year-old was also reportedly hospitalized with a firework injury. And now police say Cenat could be facing charges, including inciting a riot. The scene took more than 2 hours to get fully under control.
It's interesting what's happening in some of these liberal-run cities. It's pretty sad. So I guess that's the brand of New York.
Got an update from the NYPD, and here's what we know tonight. According to police, Cenat will be charged with multiple counts, including at least 2 counts of inciting a riot and unlawful assembly. At least 3 officers were injured and 65 people have been arrested. We have live team coverage tonight. Stephanie Bertini is taking a look at all that damage done to the neighborhood and businesses. But let's start with Teresa Priola live in Union Square with the latest from police. Teresa.
Yeah, Natasha, Union Square is back to normal tonight, as you can see behind me, and that is remarkable considering what unfolded here just a few short hours ago. What began as basically a pop-up giveaway by a celebrity YouTuber devolved into a massive riot involving teenagers and kids.
It became a total mayhem. We were like huddled behind a tree because people started running and there was really no which way for us to go.
What started as a peaceful PlayStation giveaway in Union Square by the wildly popular Twitch and YouTube star Cenat devolved into this pandemonium, the likes of which we don't usually see even in New York City.
Very big riot. It was just out of control.
It was just a whole movie, mad people, a lot of mad chaos.
The NYPD got wind of the event around 12:30. At that time, only about 300 people were here. For a long time, it was peaceful. But then Cenat's post went viral. Thousands flooded Union Square, and when Cenat showed up, chaos ensued.
This event grew exponentially, rapidly, fast. And again, this is the power of social media.
According to the NYPD, once Union Square was wall-to-wall, kids, there was no stopping the destruction. Subway service was suspended in the area. Streets were shut down. Construction equipment was used as weapons. Bottles were hurled. Some thought they heard gunshots. Turns out it was firecrackers. It was riotous conduct verging on illegal and dangerous behavior.
Young people destroyed our vehicles. My car's destroyed. Commissioner Daughtry's car is destroyed. Other police vehicles are destroyed. They destroyed food carts. They destroyed stores. When we started clearing the young people out here, young people ran through the streets of this city, taking plates off people who are outside dining, throwing their plates at police officers.
Cenat has yet to make a formal statement on any of his social channels. He's still being questioned by the NYPD, who say charges are forthcoming.
He's going to be charged with multiple counts. At least 2 counts of inciting a riot.
65 people were arrested today, 30 of them underage. Cenat boasts over 20 million subscribers on Twitch and millions more on YouTube and other channels. He's a kid from the Bronx who made it big during the pandemic, reaching the kind of fandom rarely experienced by even some of the biggest celebrities and entertainers in the world.
Wow. I mean, strange. Strange indeed. Like, so what is going on here exactly? I mean, much more could be said. I'm going to wait. I got one more perspective I want to share. Okay, this is coming from Decoy Voice. The first 2 videos were from Black Conservative Perspective. And this one here, I think he put everything in perspective in a very well articulated way. And this is why we're doing this video. So I'm going to put a link in the description below. Make sure you go show the YouTuber some love, Decoy Voice, for the things that he's doing here.
Union Square in New York City has become overrun by an unruly mob, where the streets are completely taken over by the crowd as they begin looting a hot dog truck. And Freedom News TV shows how NYPD seems practically helpless due to this situation.
No charges will be placed against you. If you refuse to leave, you will be arrested for unlawful assembly.
As it appears that thousands of people have gathered to basically riot at this point. So this takeover of New York City, is it over social justice? No. Is this activists saying no to a totalitarian government? No. This is over PlayStation 5. As Twitch streamer Cenat took to social media to state he would be giving away PlayStation 5s amongst other tech items, as NYPD immediately lost control despite their special crime-fighting plywood. Then brawls broke out in the streets, where they began chanting, which was requesting that NYPD perform a adult favor for them, and eventually someone in the crowd allegedly shot themselves. So they finally carried Cenat away, where he was apparently arrested for inciting the riot. As the streets were left trashed, but to be fair, this is New York City, so it might have looked like that when they got there. Which goes to show, some people don't need a reason to riot, they just want to riot. Because I really haven't seen anything that Cenat has done online that would suggest that his fans should take over the streets.
Whoa! Galaxy! Whoa! Ride me like a cowboy! Whoa! Galaxy!
Which really makes me wonder how he came across this phenomenon of why only certain groups of large gatherings become riots when given the opportunity. As I recently went to the Taylor Swift concert.
That's $1 million question. Why only certain groups with large gathering becomes rioters?
Concert. One, because my nieces are Swift superfans and they absolutely loved every moment of it. But 2, I previously covered the shootings that recently occurred in Seattle, where CBS made reference that this happened in the backdrop of the Taylor Swift concert that's apparently bringing in a dangerous element to the city. So how is it that this particular event can have tens of thousands of similarly aged people attending, and even in the streets, several thousand more of them just loitering outside? And I'll tell you firsthand, it's an absolute madhouse there, where the Taylor Swift crowds look similar to this, except no one is kicking the cars, stopping on the cars, or fleeing the scene as the police roll in, as Kai's event made the front page of Daily Mail with their destruction. Now I do know I'll get some shoe-sized IQ comments on how you can't compare a paid concert to a flash gathering in the streets. I just think it's interesting how some crowds can quietly line up to see their favorite pop singer, but similar capacity concerts like the Travis Scott Astroworld concert in Georgia sees this.
Yep. Great comparison. Like what is going on among our young people that makes them think it is okay to behave like that, especially in these liberal cities. There is something else happening here. It's more than skin color. Of course, we do know the majority of them are blacks, but I think there is something much more than skin color going on here. There is a culture, there's a perspective, there are some other issues here, and there are some, I will say, some political side to this, some of this stuff. This is not okay.
And it wasn't just once, as we saw the Houston, Texas concert have similar lawlessness.
That is crazy. I remember that.
Which we know ultimately resulted in mass tragedy.
10 deaths, yep. Astral Festival crowd. Crush people. It was so hot in there, and there was a lot more going on. I did have several videos talking about this, but I think his career has been destroyed as a result of that. I think he travels overseas to do his music now. Travis Scott, but he's not really. Well, anyway, that was sad.
Now, I don't want to make drastic assumptions here, but I think what this really comes down to is society tolerates what they expect of you. So as long as these leaders refuse to clamp down and just throw the full force of the law on certain groups, they'll never realize that you're not helping them, you're just condemning them to a lifetime of a third world existence.
On point. That's why I like this guy. He's a thinker.
Case in point, as Deep Blue Chicago sees similar lawlessness from their youth.
It's happening in California. Oh gosh, like something's wrong with him. Like, and when I say this, I really mean it. I'm not saying this to demean. There is really something wrong with the way this man thinks. And I think he's trying to be kind and loving. There's something else psychologically wrong with this guy. And I wish like a psychologist of some sort will sit him down and address that part of his mind that makes him think it's okay to cuddle behaviors of agents of chaos, children that are really out of control, youth that are destroying the city in Chicago. Brandon Johnson needs help. He really needs help. His thinking is really, something is not right. I'm so serious. And I'm not saying this to demean. Like I've said, I will pray for the man. But the way he thinks about dealing with criminals, there's something else happening. It must be some trauma. There's a psychological reality. There has to be either he must have had some bad experiences. Maybe his childhood. Maybe there was a level of abusiveness. It could be a number of things. Or I don't think it's just political. I think it's deeper than just political. There's something else going on with this man.
Their mayor doesn't have answers. He just demands that you use kinder words to describe them.
That's not appropriate. We're not talking about mob actions. I didn't say that. Hold on a second, okay? Respectfully. These large gatherings, just hold on a second, y'all. It's important that we speak of these dynamics in an appropriate way.
And that's just what this comes down to in New York.
No.
Sure, the NYPD made a few arrests to try to quell the unrest, but I severely doubt that the New York City district attorneys are actually going to go through with charges on any of them.
No.
They might be able to somehow rationalize that this is social justice, but at this point, I think that they know that their logic flat out doesn't work.
No, it's white supremacists' fault. White supremacist does that. Yeah, black people can't do no wrong. Everything we do is it's the fault of the white man. The devil made me do it.
They just don't care anymore. Why actually enact progress and prosperity when you can just repeatedly fail, then claim victory no matter what? Just look at former NYPD captain and current New York City Mayor Eric Adams.
We should protect our immigrants, period. Well, I think he's changing that perspective because there was a recent video of him saying, okay, protect our borders. I say, okay, you want to do the Donald Trump song? Build the wall. I thought you said the wall was a bad idea until you can't handle it anymore. So I think he's beginning to realize that, yeah, we will remain a sanctuary city. Okay, fine. Now you can't take the heat. It was all virtue signaling. A lot of it was fake. They didn't mean that. They were saying that so that Republican cities will accept it. So they wanted to put on a show. So when Republicans started saying, oh, yeah, you want the illegals? We're going to send them and ship them in buses into your city. You take care of them. And their real colors started coming out. They're starting to show their true colors right there.
And how he campaigned on keeping NYC a sanctuary city. And under his leadership, the streets literally became the slums of the country.
I took this video at around 4:30 this morning outside the Roosevelt Hotel in Manhattan on 45th Street. So these migrants were left to sleep on the sidewalk. You can see the only thing separating them from the concrete is cardboard.
Then Adam suddenly reverts to right-wing talking points.
We need to control
there we
border.
go.
We need to call a state of emergency.
Right-wing talking point. It doesn't have to be right-wing. It's just the right thing to do for the country. But again, you want to politicize everything. No wonder why we're in this mess.
And we need to properly fund this national crisis.
But curiously pats himself on the back on how well he's doing.
All I know is all my haters become my waiters when I sit down at the table of success.
Now
I'm sure he will be successful. He's gonna get some type of position eventually. It seems like the wrong people gets promoted in this culture, but the right ones gets demoted.
Normally would sit back and say, he's a fool. Just look at how much his city is suffering. But I can almost guarantee that deep blue New York City will re-elect him, if not promote him to governor or the U.S. Senate.
Yeah, and the people will keep voting. They'll keep voting blue no matter what. Even though when the mayors and the politicians are doing everything that is anti-human, everything that's wrong in our systems, they're promoting. And we're still voting for them. I don't understand the mentality that's behind that.
At this point, I actually wonder if I'm the fool here. Because if I was a left-wing YouTuber instead, I wouldn't need to gather all this video evidence, dig deep into what's hidden in the mainstream media news articles, and try to present concise, rational responses to what's really happening in the world, when I could just lie. I could play the Cenat riots, omit the fact that a guy got shot, and just claim it was destructive, but mostly peaceful. And if things really got out of hand, I'll just wait for them to indict Trump again, because I'm telling you right now, it actually seems that
he's on point.
Every time things get really bad for the Democrats, new bomb.
Orange Man is bad. Every time something gets bad for the Democrats, Mr. Trump is indicted. The parallel here is undeniable.
Shell charges are brought against the Orange Man. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on what's really going on in the world, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on how Seattle is getting exactly what they voted for.
Great. Guys, go subscribe to this channel if you want to get some of his content. I love his style, his delivery. Great job. Here is the thing. What's going on in New York City could be explained. All right, let me see if I can put it this way. In New York City, the real issue here is a culture problem. It's also spiritual, but here's the thing. Fatherlessness, lawlessness, and hopelessness. I'm trying to keep it simple. What do I mean by fatherlessness? It's exactly that. A lot of these young people have no fathers around. It's over 75%. That's what the research is showing. So a lot of teenagers in New York City, both blacks and Hispanics, there are very few whites that you might find among that group. Very few, but you can count them on your finger. So most of what we're getting is a large amount of these young people, either they don't have a father present in the home. What does that do? Well, it creates when there's no father, there's really no discipline. Most young boys and also young girls, there's only so much mommy can tell them, unfortunately. And mothers are great. Mothers put in some work. Mothers can't do it all. They just can't. It was never meant for them to do it all anyway. So we have a problem here, and we can thank the feminists for that, for encouraging and London B. Johnson law and the supposed, helping the blacks with all this welfare state business that separated the fathers from the home. And it could be other issues as well. I think hip hop plays a role in destroying our men. And I think some of our men have lost it. Some of our black men have completely lost it. So that creates a serious problem. And we have a lot of black women, and I'm going to be honest, a lot of black women think they can do without a man. And that's a concept that's in the black community. And it's a deception. Here's the other thing. So we have fatherlessness, we have lawlessness. Lawlessness is just the law is not being upheld. That's what it is. And it creates an environment where these young people could do whatever they want. And when they get in trouble, they are protected. The criminals, I don't want to call kids criminals because they're really kids. They're just making bad decisions, but that's criminal behaviors, though. The law is not being enforced. So if they can get away with it and nobody's going to check them and there are no serious consequences. Do they even do juvenile today? Do they even do that anymore? It's like, so liberal cities makes it possible to do all this stuff. You know, that's why Jason Aldean, when he said, try that in a small town, see how far you make it. They won't do this in a small town because it's not acceptable, right? But in a larger cities, this is normal behaviors, you know. So lawlessness, which is rooted in immorality and also just bad liberal policies and defund the police and soft on crime policies and stuff like that. These are the things that are making it happen, because if these kids know they can get away with it, what's to stop me? Like you see, understand? You like, that's kind of like, you encourage the behavior by telling them, yeah, you can steal anything under $300 is fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is how you get to a point where your city looks like that. You know, so, I say hopelessness. Hopelessness is, and I'm not giving you verses, I'm just speaking from the top of my head here. Hopelessness means you just have no reason to live. You have no hope. It's not because the country is bad or America is racist or white supremacist. It's really not true. But the message that is given in the media, as well as many blacks, or should I say social justice warriors, these race hustlers, if I may refer to that term for lack of words here, but they're giving people no hope. You live in the greatest country in the world and you keep telling young black people that America is racist, is white supremacist. They're destroying you. You can't prosper and things like that. Well, with hopelessness comes poor education, poor choices, no reason to want to go forward and do what is right because you don't have a reason to look to a bright future. And a lot of the anti-supposed racist message today gives black Americans no hope. It really doesn't. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. It breeds an environment of hopelessness. It really does. It makes it feel as though white people are out to get us when really that's not the case. And we end up hurting ourselves in our own community, in our own city. Like, here, think about it this way. I love what he did with the concert, right? Here is a Taylor Swift concert. They're not acting like that, right? But you go to New York City, this is coming in normal over a PS5, right? Over a YouTuber, which is crazy, but that's what's going on. So there has to be something else going on that causes these behaviors. And I think when you are at a place in this country, when you are telling young people, you are telling black children, or you're telling anybody in this country that the country is racist and everything, you creating a mentality that is going to result in behaviors like this. You might not see the psyche behind that, but it's really, you know, hurt people, right? If people have no hope, they want to make sure nobody else does. The way people feel, they tend to reflect that feeling on everyone else. So if I can't be happy, nobody should be happy. That's kind of what's going on here. And it's sad. It's a condition that I think a lot of politicians and the media have created. I think we need to speak life to our young people. We need to give them things to do. Encourage them to work. I think activists should get engaged in assisting these young people, pray for these young people, minister to their needs, listen to their concerns. But for many who will not change, They need to go to prison. They need to be locked up. There needs to be accountability in the black community. That's lacking today. I don't think it's fair to lock everybody up. And I mean, that's not gonna. But there has to be something that they have to be able to learn. There has to be a level of discipline. And I think whenever we pacify their behaviors, is very, very bad. We're creating some very sick individuals in our communities when we do that. And the people who suffer the most are the people who live in that community. They suffer the most. Their business suffer the most, their own lives. And I think social media plays a role in this, because these young people are online all the time, and it's a fad to do like teen takeovers. It's a new thing now. It's a trend. You get recorded doing something destructive, and that gets you a lot of views online and things like that. So I think there's a part of that that's going on in social media. Anyway, these are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Why do you think this is going on in these communities? And I think of fatherlessness, hopelessness, and also lawlessness, but there could be more. So tell me, share your thought and perspective with me. Link in the description below. Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. Yeah, New York certainly does have a brand. It has a brand, all right. Have a good one. Bye.